Well, what a disaster that changeover was this morning. The distribution system that we have for Mirador television failed to kick in for some reason. Perhaps we're just getting a weak signal through the router. I have no idea, but by the time we'd finished playing around with it, 4 or 5 minutes had gone, and here it is, 7 minutes past 6, 7 minutes later on the air with the radio station, with Radio Rouser, which comes from Lewes in East Sussex in the UK, not Lewes, Delaware, although we are always ready to welcome people in Lewes, Delaware. I suppose it would be about 1 o'clock in the morning there, would it? Yes, about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. So if there are any really, really late birds up in Lewes, Delaware, welcome to Rouser Radio, coming out of Lewes in the United Kingdom. I know actually that our mayors do fairly frequently visit one another, that there is a close tie, and of course Lewes, Delaware was named after Lewes in East Sussex. Lewes in East Sussex going way back. Well, the community here between 400 and 500 AD, and long before the Normans came in 1066, we had a Saxon community which was fairly sophisticated. Anyway, that's our background, and we're delighted that Lewes, Delaware, which is a fairly ancient town itself in American terms, it was named after us, and that we have a warm relationship with it. Oh, there you are. That makes up to 9 minutes past 6, and I think that before I really get cracking, we better play a little bit of music, hadn't we? So let's go for Dandelion Charm, since we had a referendum yesterday which took in New Haven. Let's go to Dandelion Charm out of New Haven. Husband and wife team, terrific singers, wonderful people. Really switch it on stage. Catch them if you can. But anyway, take a little listen this morning with September.
Take good care of all you see and do. Keep your sunshine, hold it close to you, and always will remember the light shining from you. And I hope your September is not blue. It's not blue. It's not blue. Moments only till this chapter's through. Time gets lost, but time is always new. And always will remember the light shining from you. And I hope your September is not blue. It's not blue. It's not blue. shining from you. And I hope your September, really hope your September is not blue, is not blue.
Dandelion Charm out of New Haven. Ah, well, I just managed to make myself a hot chocolate during that little period, I'm happy to say, without actually failing to get back in time to switch on the microphone. Now, a couple of things to go over this morning. Of course, there was a referendum yesterday. The polls were steady throughout the day, whether in fact it was a record turnout or not. I haven't seen any statistics this morning, and I've been looking at various sources that I have for my news, and nobody is reporting on either a result or how heavy the poll was. It did look, from the bits and pieces that were said prior to the poll yesterday, it looked as if the Lewis neighbourhood plan was going to pass. It is a blueprint that can guide us through the next 10 to 14, 15 years. And I suppose that we need a blueprint. I didn't take sides on either side. I had a vote. I'm not going to tell you how I voted. But there were, once again, politics does raise passions in this part of the world, and that's terrific, because that is a sign of good democratic process. The trouble is that within the council itself, they use the cabinet system, which was introduced, guess by whom? That great master of democratic processes, Tony Blair, in the Local Government Act of 2000. And the cabinet system is that there is, and I hate this word cabinet because it's an inanimate object, but it's a group of people, much the same as we have a cabinet in London, in Westminster. It's a group of people within the ruling party who meet and determine what their policies and decisions are going to be. Then when they get into council chamber for a council meeting, they pull a string and everybody stands up and votes for or against, more like a three-line whip. And I mean, it really does become a comedy of errors, is my view, having gone to a council meeting 2 weeks ago. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I mean, my first instinct was perhaps I'll go to sleep through this because it'll be so boring. Not a bit of it. It's alarming in my view. And this can now be reversed because the government in 2015 said if you want to dump the cabinet system, you can. Go back to the committee system. Now, a number of people, when I mention this, say, well, the committee system was pretty useless as well. Yeah, but it was democratic. That was the point. And I think that if we lose sight of democracy, which we seem to be in this part of the world, we're losing sight of democracy. Yeah, sure, we all have a voice, we all have a vote, and then everybody ignores it. Or at least the players, main players, ignore it. I haven't seen anything that has listened to a local protest and then reversed from this council. And if they have done that, if those things have happened, then I'll give them every chance to let me know. But I'm in a fight with them at the moment, and they're going to take me to court, and I'm very pleased with that because it does give me the opportunity now to air a few grievances, because they really the appeal process is non-existent. The response to letters, emails, and I always send an email plus hard copy, is non-existent. Now, that in itself means that we've got an executive that thinks that they are all bloody powerful, and they stomp around making decisions and sending out letters, threatening letters. They are bullies, and like all bullies, they don't seem to be able to do anything properly. The council is in a mess. Eastbourne, Lewis, it's in a mess. They're incapable of handling it. Let's go back, let's split. Let's split the two councils, because there are now studies of this expansion, which everybody wants. Let's be bigger and better and it'll save money. No, it doesn't. There have been a number of studies now, and it points out that if you are arguing about expanding your region to save money, forget it, because it doesn't. And because of the hefty hike in council tax this year, it's obvious that it doesn't. They need the dough. Why? Because their expansion plans have cost more than they've saved. And it is silly. So we've got, at the council level, at the political level, we've got a cabinet system which is undemocratic. At the executive level, we've got a group of people that can't seem to manage the whole damn thing. The thing is just a mess, who don't feel the need to defend it in any way. They just merrily go on their way. I mean, to be quite honest with you, I'm glad that these people aren't building aircraft or something, because I'd never get on one. I'll tell you now, anything made by this council, we'd probably be lucky it wouldn't get off the ground. There's nothing else we should have done. Anyway, there was a referendum yesterday, and I was talking to a former politician who was heavily involved in the district at one time at the political level, and he pointed out that we had a magnificent chief executive named John Crawford, and John Crawford ran a very, very good ship. Why it is that the present ship, it seems to need a captain. But nobody cares. At the council meeting, the cabinet, along with its muppets, pull the string, stand up, vote yes, vote no, do what we say, kept on saying what marvellous council officers they got. And as another former politician at the local level said, for some reason, they all want to be very chummy with the executive. Well, we don't want you to be chummy. We want you to actually keep an eye on the executive. They can't go without any sort of responsibility to A, us, the voters, their constituents, and B, you, our elected representatives. The whole thing is just so undemocratic. I think it needs pulling it apart and putting back together. And we do have, and there have been some people who have sent little notes to a whole variety of Facebook type social media outlets, and they've said this very thing is, let's start asking our councillors how they stand on various issues. And mine is, how do they stand on the cabinet system? And are they prepared to get rid of it or not? Now, you may say, no. Hang on, Keith, we disagree with you. And that is fair enough, that's a democratic way. Please disagree with me, but I think what we've got to do is we've got to hold up these things to question, to find out whether they work or they don't. And if they don't, then we need something that does. And this system does not work, either politically or in terms of the administration. And something needs to be done. I say something needs to be done. Well, at least I'm raising my voice. And they try every way to stop me, but that's okay. That's what the game is all about. They don't want their nice little comfortable situation turned upside down. Oh dear, why don't we, Keith? It's Friday, let's kiss the sky.